Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 PM Pacific time in the US, which is 10 AM in Australia or 1 AM if you're in the UK. If you do miss the live streams, you can watch the catch-up streams on a Friday and Saturday at 2 PM Pacific time in the US, 7 AM in Australia, or 10 PM if you're in the UK. Sniper Girl, good to see you. The guys were talking on the Discord server, the Phil Does 3D Discord server, that you guys should be a member in. If you're not already, just click the blue graphic in my panels below my stream. We're talking about the Sonic movie, the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and the character. Man, it's creepy. It's just creepy that the character that they've designed for the movie. I don't know what they're thinking. Smurf reposted an image of somebody who'd spent 5 minutes in Photoshop fixing the eyes, and it looks so much better. That Sniper Girl says, yeah, the thing of nightmares. It is. It's really creepy. That trailer has been getting a lot of hate. I would have thought that they would have maybe altered the character. Maybe it's too late. Maybe they've done too much of the animation to change the look of the character. I don't know. They should, because it does look weird. Really weird. Oh dear. Everybody loves Sonic, but not that Sonic. I'm just looking at it here. So let's just take a quick look at the link that Smurf reposted of the person that spent all of 5 minutes fixing their problem for them. So this is the movie, and this is the 5-minute job in Photoshop that someone did, and this looks so much better. It's just they're weird. So weird. Anyway, not a movie I'm probably going to be watching, even though I did like Sonic the Hedgehog the game. I don't want to watch that movie. Snapper says, just redo the skin weights. Snapper Girl says, but they did. They made it so the fur where the hands are white. Really? And Sniper Girl says, as if that's the only thing wrong with it. Yeah, there's quite a few problems with it, and it's been getting a lot of hate online as well. Well, that's what's going to happen when you take a beloved character like Sonic the Hedgehog and you don't do a good job. You're going to get crucified. Public opinion are not going to be happy. What a sad state of affairs for Sonic the Hedgehog. Smurfy says there's another timeline where they made Sonic the Hedgehog. Just let that sink in. Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh dear. There have been a few stinkers recently as far as animated characters go for movies. I know we were talking last year about that rabbit movie. The rabbit. I can't remember what it's called now. It was the rabbit that slid down the banister in the movie, and the animation for the rabbit was really weird as well. Looked really strange. You guys will know what I mean. Classic children's tale that they remade into an animated movie. Sniper Girl says, and dude, they have Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik with Jim Carrey acting like Jim Carrey. I have to admit that Jim Carrey has never been one of my favourite actors. I don't really like him that much. I find his humour a bit too manic for me. I've never really understood the appeal of Jim Carrey. I'm sure he's a very fine actor, but everything I've seen him in has been unappealing. I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Sniper Girl says, I liked him when I was a kid. Well, that's pretty much his humour, isn't it? It appeals to 15 and below. Oh, poor Jim Carrey. I don't want to get hate from people that like Jim Carrey, but I don't particularly. I've never enjoyed his films, so good luck to you if you like him. I don't. And it's Dr. Robotnik. Well, to begin with, he's not fat enough to be Dr. Robotnik unless they put him in a bat suit or something. I guess it's animated, I suppose, so they're only using his voice. I guess that's okay then. But yeah, Classic Sonic. I used to love Sonic. Played for hours and hours and hours. Oh, the good old days of Sonic the Hedgehog and Donkey Kong and all of that. Now look at games. It's all AAA, you know. Not all. That's a lie. There's lots of indie games that make a lot of platformers still. Sniper Girl says they didn't know live action. You haven't seen the train wreck of the trailer. I did. Actually looked at the trailer a couple of months ago because I noticed a story online where they were talking about how bad Sonic the Hedgehog character looked. So I checked the trailer out then, but that was a couple of months ago. And it surprises me that after all the bad press they got then, that they didn't do something to change it, but, you know, now. They're still using the same bad character. Like I said, maybe they're too far into production to change it. I don't know. I wouldn't be happy though if it was my IP and they were mangling my character that way. But I did check it out, not recently, but I did check it out a couple of months ago. That's how I knew it was animated. I just got confused. It doesn't take much to confuse Bill. You know that, Sniper Girl. I'm easily confused, easily distracted, and can't multitask. You know all these things about me, guys. Okay, what are we doing? We're working on the Temple of the Winds. Sniper Girl says, just came out of actual trailer, first one released. Okay. Let's check this trailer out, shall we? Because I'm curious. I know Sniper Girl's posted the link here in Twitch chat, but I want to see it. I'll turn the audio off because I don't want to get any copyright strikes. Let me have a look. Let's just mute this audio. No. I thought you said it was animated. All animated. That was live action. Oh, it was probably one of the many fakes. Okay. No, I remember this. No, this is what I saw in the original trailer, this shot here of the character. So Jim Carrey is going to actually be a live character in this? Not an animated character like Sonic? Oh, God. Oh, God, you've got to be kidding me. Wow. Do I need to mute the music? Yeah, I've muted the music. Yeah, no, I'll keep my music playing. I'm going to mute the trailer just because I don't want any copyright issues with YouTube, because it'll go up to YouTube or Twitch. Sniper Girl says, no, it's live action. I thought it was all animated, actually. With Sonic, yeah, so I only, you know that section where you see Sonic on the road, the character shot? That's what, the bit that I saw months ago was just that bit. So I assumed the entire movie was animated. That is just sad. I'm sorry, but that is just sad as Dr. Robotnik. Jim Carrey there as Dr. Robotnik. That is just terrible. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Dr. Robotnik is chubby. He's a little round ball. He's not this stick figure that Jim Carrey is. So disappointing. It's very rare for a movie, for something to work where you mix a live action with an animated character like this. It always looks wrong. The only time it ever looked good was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Do you remember that movie years and years and years ago? That was done really well with the animated character, but any other time they try and mix an animated character like this, which is a cartoonish character, in with a live action movie, it never works right. It just always looks weird. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I mean, they've obviously spent a bit of money on the film. But, Like character work. Wow. The character, if you're going to feature the character like that, you've got to make sure it's spot on. Because, it's the central focus of the film. If it's not right, the film is not going to work. And it's not right. I'm sorry, but that character just does not look right. I don't understand their reasoning for doing live action to begin with. I don't get it. Sniper Girl says Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey. Doesn't match the character at all. Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't hear the music. I didn't hear the speaking because we got it muted. But I would not have done a live action film. If you want to do Sonic, do it all animated. It just looks weird otherwise. Sniper Girl says, yeah, they spent money on the film. People spent money on trains that wreck all the time. This movie isn't any different. Well, that's very true. Cruel but true. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not going to watch it. It's not something I even have any interest in going to see, and I love Sonic the Hedgehog. But I'm not going to watch my dear Sonic being mangled like that in some movie. Just sad. Really sad. It's Nintendo, isn't it, that owns the IP of Sonic the Hedgehog? I'm pretty sure. If I was Nintendo, I would not be happy. I'm assuming Nintendo, though, have been monitoring it as it's been being made, so I'm surprised they haven't said something. It's Sega. Oh, Sega. Okay. Sega still owns it. My apologies. I'm getting mixed up with Donkey Kong, which is Nintendo, because it's in that vein. Every time I think Sonic, I think Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Nintendo. I thought Sonic was Nintendo. Was it Atari at some stage? Or was it? No, it was always Sega. You're right. You are right. I thought Sega didn't exist anymore. I thought they went bust or something, like Atari went bust. Or am I just imagining this? Is this just all happening in Phil's mind? Sniper Girl says, yeah, according to interviews, Sega isn't happy with the character either. Well, good. I'm glad they're not happy because I think it looks terrible. If I was Sega and I owned the IP... unless they sign some terrible contract where they can't get out of it, I would tell them that they can't use the character unless they change it. Smokeberry says the big ones live on as zombies holding companies. Oh, okay. They're zombie holding companies, right? Yeah, because I know Atari, I know more. Sniper Girl says, no, they still exist, make games every now and then. I didn't know they still made games. I didn't think they still existed. I thought they'd gone like Atari, they were gone. Or like, Commodore. They're just all gone. Which is sad. All these childhood memories I have of all these wonderful platformers, and most of the companies that made them now just don't exist anymore. Very sad. Like, I remember Pegasus, I think it was, Synopsys or something, that used to make Commodore 64 games. I don't think they're in existence anymore. They used to make some really cool games. Oh, well. See, I read the other day about a story about, do you remember the E.T. game, the cartridge game, that was really, really bad, the worst game ever made, apparently, and how they buried all the cartridges in some hole in the desert? There was some story the other day about somebody who was searching for that hoard of cartridges, or had found it and dug them up. Sniper Girl says, if they did this as a character, I'd watch it. Let's have a look. I've got to get my mouse to behave itself. Here we go. So which character here do you like? Sniper Girl? Oh, okay. See, this is a much more stylized character as well, which was much more in line with the original games. Like the actual shape of the character here is much more stylized than the one that's in that trailer. The eyes are much better. It has more character, more style. It's more stylized, so it has more character. Smokeberry says the city where the cartridges were buried allowed digging to occur at the landfill, and they did find them. Well, there you go. I don't know what they're going to do with them because no one wants to play them. Actually, I heard that they on eBay and places like that they were going for a lot of money, strangely enough, because of the whole ethos around how bad the worst game of all time was. People actually wanted to buy it and play it. God knows why. If you'd ever tried to play that game, I mean, I didn't play it, but I saw screenshots of it being played. Like, it just looked like a nightmare to try and play it. It looked terrible. So I can understand why it got the accolade of the worst game of all time. Sniper Girl says it looks like... Yeah, it does. This looks like Sonic, you're right. The one that they've created for the movie doesn't look like Sonic. It's not stylized enough, that's why. And they've made weird changes to its eyes. That'll be a big miss from me. Won't be one I'm going to be going and seeing. Good luck with the however much money they spent on that film trying to recoup their costs, because it's already got a bad reputation. So, you know, it'll be a straight to DVD, straight to Blu-ray title, I think. It won't stay in the cinema for very long. Sniper Girl says Trainwreck games are valuable. The reason is due to so many games get recalled when they make a horrible game and not that many actual sales. So you're saying that Trainwreck games are valuable? Yeah, I guess I think you mean because the Sonic Hedgehog game is quite expensive to try and buy now because you can't get it. Which is, yeah, it's beggars belief. I mean, when I say expensive, it's like $1,000 to buy a cartridge, an ET cartridge on eBay when they were selling them. I think if you're going to spend $1,000 on an ET cartridge, you've got more money than sense, so you deserve everything you get. So because this, yeah, reason the ET is so valuable. Yeah, I don't get it. Look, I know it's a classic. I know gamers are a breed unto themselves, and we all like to, you know, games are our life, so we like to own something that's a classic, I guess. A bad classic, but a classic. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't spend that money on a game that's terrible. Sniper Girl says, you mentioned ET. It's valuable due to they hardly sold and was buried. Yeah, I know. Certainly not valuable because it's a good game. That's for sure. You're so mean, Phil. So mean. As if I've never worked on a bad game. I have worked on a bad game. What are we doing again? That's all right. We're going to do some work on that column here. Instead of me sending this through, because we already sent column 1 through, I'm just going to open up Substance Painter and we'll load up the project directly. Sniper Girl says, did you know the game was bad at the time you were working on it? Yes, I did. I knew immediately, unfortunately. This is one of those things where when you work for a studio full time, even if you know something is bad, you got to work on it because, you know, you got to work on whatever they give you, whether it's bad or good or indifferent. Unlike when you work for yourself and you can pick and choose your own projects. When you're working for a studio in a team making something, your opinion about whether it's good or bad doesn't really matter because the studio's sunk so much money into making what they put, the piece of rubbish they're pushing out that you just got to grin and bear it. But I knew from the very beginning it was rubbish. I can't talk too much about it because I still had to sign NDAs and stuff, so I can't really mention what it was or where it was. But it was bad, and I knew it from the beginning that it was going to be terrible. I moved on from that studio just before the thing was released anyway, so so I avoided all of that. And the studio actually don't exist anymore, so what does that tell you, boys and girls? That tells you that if you make rubbish, you risk your business. That's what that tells you. Remember I said to you all along when I first started streaming, quality over quantity. That's the best way to go. You don't want to push rubbish out the door so you can get more rubbish out the door. You want to make quality product, and that will sell well, and that will save your business. And it was brought to the attention of the directors at the time. Teams, quite a few of us actually went and had meetings with the directors one-on-one to tell them that this was a problem and this was going to be a problem, and if they didn't change it, then onus is on them. So we were warned, they were warned, everybody warned them. They tried to tell them. But these directors, you know what these directors are like, of companies, they think they know everything. So I'm not saying most of them, all directors are like that own companies, but the people that I work for certainly were. You can ask me a drone. You can ask me any question you like, Sniper Girl. I don't know whether I'll answer it, but yes, ask me a drone question for sure. What do you want to know? All right. I need to distress the top of this edge because I thought it was covered, but it's not. So let's do that. Where is my mask? Where is my mask? Where is my mask? It's a very good question. What? Sniper Girl says, do you think the DJI Mavic 2 Pro, which is what we use at work, would be good for photogrammetry? If I get either job, I want to get a drone and get my drone flying license, use it for photogrammetry. Yes, it would be excellent. That's what we use at the studio. We have a couple of the DJI Mavic 2 Pros. They are very good. I can recommend them. I've used them. They're good drones. A couple of $1,000s, of course, to buy. So not the cheapest drones, but they are good. The cameras in them are very good as well. So yep, I can recommend that for sure. I think I'm on the wrong layer. That's why I can't find my mask. There we go. But duh. Oh, Phil. You want the dirt mask? The dirt brush. So yes, that is an excellent drone. Excellent drone. Probably one of the better ones, unless you want to start going into like $10,000 drones. And even then, the Mavic is a good drone anyway. It competes really well with the 10 grand drones. So. Sniper Girl says they're 50. What's this? 15? 15,000? Oh, 1,000. Okay. I was thinking it can't be $15,000. She means they're not that much. Yeah, the kits. You can buy them in a kit. But you're talking US dollars. I'm talking Australian dollars. To buy it in this country, it's about 2,500 Australian dollars. So that probably is about 1,500 US dollars. I know the kits you're talking about too. She says it comes with the controller, the headset, the bag. Probably get a bigger memory card and a couple of batteries. That's a good idea because the batteries is something people forget about when they first start using a drone. The batteries don't last very long. I mean, they last a decent amount of time, but generally if you're doing a shoot, and you're out for the day, you need a couple of spare batteries just to get the job done, particularly if you're taking a lot of shots. So a spare battery or two is always a very good idea. Android Lust, good to see you. Android Lust says, my brother has one of those DJI drones. They're really nice. They're very nice drones. In the prosumer grade drone, like I said, you can spend much more money on drones if you really want to get bigger drones. When you know how they send me out to the middle of nowhere to work on a mining site, generally a lot of the mining companies have their own drones. and we use their drones when we go out to do that. But stuff for the studio that we do locally, we use the DJI one. But the ones that the mining companies use are huge. They're like 4 times the size of the Mavic. I call it a Maverick, but the Mavic. But we don't get to take those back with us. They stay at the mine. I would love to take one home, one of their drones home, but that ain't going to happen. They're not going to give me one of their drones. I'm just going to switch back to white here for a minute, because I don't like that painting, so I'm just going to paint out some of the bits that I don't want. I've painted some of the dirt off, that's why there's that little shinier bit there, but we're going to go over this in a minute anyway. So, yeah, if I got AUD, yeah, you guys in the US, you get to buy stuff much cheaper than we do here in Australia, which is always a bugbear of people that live in this country. It's like, you know, graphics cards cost much more to purchase here than they do in the US, which I guess makes sense because, you know, NVIDIA is a US company, so. Doesn't mean I have to like it though. Snappy Girl says, from reading, the batteries only last 30 minutes. Yeah, they don't last very long. It takes a lot of power to keep the drone in the air and to take video or shots, so it drains the battery pretty quickly. But yeah, which is why I always recommend you have at least one spare battery. And generally when we go out for the day, we take 2 or 3 batteries with us, just to be on the safe side, because you don't want to have to go back to a location to redo shots. Just wastes more time. The studio can have you doing actual other work. They don't like it when you don't take enough shots, or you have got to go back out and take more. Stumpy Girl says, honestly hoping for the job at Caterpillar. It's in South Dakota, and would be great for doing photogrammetry of some of the rock faces close up and high detailed scans to sell. Yeah. South Dakota. What's Dakota like? Again, I haven't been to the United States. I really should get over there at some stage, because you've got a lot of really cool spots to check out in the US. I almost went to live in the US many, many years ago when I was offered a job with Codemasters. That studio called Codemasters. Again, I'm not sure if they're still in business now. But unfortunately, the project that they were hiring me for fell through, so I almost went to live in the US. Yeah, they're incredibly easy to pick up and learn, Sniper Girl. Those drones pretty much fly themselves. Like Sniper Echo mentioned the other day, or yesterday it might have been, yeah, they're surprisingly easy to fly. Yeah, Android Lost says, as far as I know, the drone will return to you when the battery drops below a certain percentage. They certainly do. So yeah, or if they go out of range, they'll come back to you as well. So it's all sort of built into the smarts of the drone. It'll just automatically fly back to you. You don't even have to do anything. It's all built into it. Smurfberry Barbecue says grass and rocks. That's right. Everybody loves grass and rocks, Smurfberry, don't they? Snappy Girl says, and plastic, don't forget that. Sniper Girl says, yes and no, can turn that off. Not sure who on earth would turn that feature off. Don't turn that feature off. If you're going to go and buy a drone, don't turn it off. Last thing you want to do is, if you spend a couple of grand on a drone, is to lose the thing. Or to get it stuck on some roof of some building or in some tree or God knows what. Or yeah, just lose it. You know, it'll go down somewhere where you don't know where it is. That's not good. You see, I'm trying to multitask today. I'm trying to keep working and keep an eye on the chat. Android Lust says, float away in a river. Well, that wouldn't be good either. If it lands in a river, you're going to be in all sorts of hurt anyway. I don't think they're waterproof, so I try and avoid putting your drone in the water. Otherwise, you might be up for a repair bill. Okay, we're back to the beginning. Good. Alrighty now, I still have to do the bottom one, but we're only going to be doing 2 versions of this texture anyway. We're going to repeat it around the columns, all 12 columns. But I want to do a bit of multicolour to the gold. I don't just want the gold to be one colour, which you mentioned yesterday, Sniper Girl. Sniper Girl says, to Android Lust, that would be my luck. I get a brand new $1,500 drone, it ends up in the river. Be careful. So I'm going to place this darker colour on top, and I'm going to increase my brush size. And now what I'm going to do is bring back some of the goldy gold. So I'm hitting the wrong. I need to create a mask. So let's add a paint layer. There we go. What's that knocking? Next door. Strange knocks happening everywhere. So yeah, I'm just going to start to paint some of this gold back in now. Not everywhere. So I'm just going to start lifting up the gold colour. Here and there. Again, I'm going to just increase my brush a little bit. It just helps to add a little bit more interest to the gold as well. Less is more, remember. I know I can have a habit of getting a bit carried away here sometimes with these overpaints, but you probably want to avoid doing too much. Murphy says, just make the whole thing solid gold. No, we don't want to do that. Remember what I said to you guys? You want things to look old. You don't want them to look too new. If they look too new, they look too fake. So avoid making things look too new. Let's just pull back here and have a quick look. I want to make some adjustments to the tile as well, but I want to concentrate on getting the gold done first. We might bring in a little bit more gold, just in one section, maybe through here. Maybe through here. And, maybe through here. Because this brighter gold will pick up the glint of the light really nicely. When we do a render, we'll get a nice reflection happening from the gold. And we can do some cool effect in Photoshop for the beauty render, which I did for the the Art Nouveau entryway. But I'll talk about that when we jump into Photoshop at the very end when we're doing some color correction. Sniper Girl says, and a lot of reading on the drone itself. Euro, good to see you. Euro says, I heard gravity can be a problem if you run out of battery. Yes, gravity can be a major bitch if you run out of batteries when you're flying a drone. You don't want that. So always make sure you have a lot of batteries with you. Or just don't fly right up to the limit of the drone's time, and don't turn off the return to home feature, because that would be bad. Yes, gravity is a bitch when things start to fall, as Sniper Girl says. And don't fly near airfields. That's exactly right. That's against the law, at least in this country. Do not fly near an airfield. You require a license, at least in this country now, to fly a drone, regardless of where you fly it, whether it's in a park down your street. You need a license. And regardless of the size of the drone, you need a license. Sniper Girl says a lot of batteries have the return to home feature active and see where the controller is and set where the controller has home. Yes, all good points. Yuri says we have drone exclusion zones. Think that we're going down the license route too. Yeah. You must have a license in this country regardless of the size of the drone. You cannot fly a drone in residential areas, like you can't fly over people's homes or in people's backyards. That's against the law. So there's still a few restrictions as well, and you can't fly near airfields either. Sniper Girl says airfields, military bases, and most national parks in the US are typically off limits. You can fly a drone in a national park here. You can't fly them near military installations, airports, or residential areas, such as people's backyards and stuff like that. You can't fly a drone there. Which is fair enough, because no one wants to be spied on by some kid with a drone flying in their backyard and up to their window, like the episode of South Park where people bought drones and just got carried away, spying on their neighbours. So yeah, the license thing is relatively new in this country. They've only just introduced it in the last few months. Prior to that, you didn't need a license, but you do now. Sniper Girl says that in the US a license isn't required, assuming you don't plan on doing it commercially. You just need to report them to the FAA. Well, that's in this country, a license is required, commercial or not. If you want to fly a drone, regardless of the size, even if it's a tiny drone, you must have a license. If you're flying it outside, of course. If you're just flying it in the inside of your house, then you're fine. But if you're flying it outside, you need a license, regardless of whether it's commercial or not. Now, I just need to try and, before I move on to the gold at the bottom here, I just want to have a look at the tile first. So I want to see if I can fix something that I'm noticing. Ira says, yeah, I mean, if I happen to be outside and a drone was invading my privacy, I'd probably disable it too. Well, that's what other people do. You know how we have a lot of farmers, because Australia is a farming country as well. We don't only do mining, we do farming as well. And there were stories of farmers shooting drones down because only guns are against the law. You can't have a gun in this country unless you have a license, and not every, so guns are generally, most people don't have a gun. But farmers do have guns. They have it to shoot, vermin and stuff on their property, apparently. So a lot of the farmers were shooting drones down from other farmers that were invading their airspace, which I thought was very funny. So, and these farmers, again, they spend a couple of grand on their drones to have it shot down by someone, destroyed by someone with their shotgun. 900-pound gorilla, thank you for the follow. My apologies for taking so long to notice. You guys know I can't multitask. Thank you, 900-pound gorilla, for following the channel. I do appreciate it. Sniper Girl says, if you do it commercially, you need a 107 drone license. I'm not, yep. Sniper Girl says to Euro, yeah, a shotgun would work. It certainly would. So let me see. I just want to try and make some adjustments to the texture that we're using on this column here. Okay, I'm in the right one. I've got to try and find the right texture. That's the one I want there. Angry Gorilla is bae, and Smurfberry says Angry Gorilla is bae. Sniper Girl says, if I get a drone, will probably be from Amazon, and I'd pay for the damage coverage. Okay, just in case someone shoots it down or it hits a bird. Yeah, well, there you go, Amazon. Buy it from Amazon. Get the damage coverage. What I'm doing here is I want to line up the two tiling textures. I noticed they're misaligned, so I'm just making some corrections here to line them up. There we go. Now our two square tiled textures are lined up. So if I turn this one off and turn this one off, you can see that they're both lining up. That was what was bothering me. It was really bothering. Android Lost says, 900-pound gorilla is an awesome character modeler. Oh, okay. Cool. Sniper Girl says to Android Lost, yeah, love night. I'll have to check out 900-pound gorilla's work then. Sniper Girl says, does she still stream? Sometimes, Euro says. Okay, cool. I will check out her work. Because you guys know I love looking at everyone's work. Again, I'm just making sure that this is correct. Smoker says, yes, she does. She was streaming yesterday, I think. Okay, well, there you go. I'll have to check out her stream as well. Euro says, I've been trying to keep regular sleep schedules, so I miss a lot of West Coast USA peeps. Well, sleep is important, and keeping a regular schedule is important, so I think, you know, you're forgiven, Euro. I think I might just be a little off on one of my tiles here. I'm just going to try and work out which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Control Z, I want to undo that wrong one. This one, it's one to just make a small adjustment here. I'll try to. So sensitive, the slider on this thing. Might be a tiling difference, just a slight tiling difference. I might just have to look at that, actually. Android Lust says, what's a sleep schedule? But you're a machine, Android Lust. You knock those models out like no one's business. And now we know why, because he never sleeps. I'm just trying to work out the issue here. So forgive me for concentrating and not saying anything. I think because we're getting a lineup happening around most of the texture. Looks like we're just going a little bit out of alignment here. I actually think that's where the texture starts to meet the scene. I think that's what's going on there. I think it's just in one spot toward where the seam meets. I don't think it's really going to be noticeable in a render. There is an option we can take, which is to am I on the wrong layer? I am on the wrong layer. There we go. Sniper Girl says to Android Lost, I don't even know what sleep is. You guys, you got to take care of yourselves. Don't work yourself to death. That's not good. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, this is just something to save time if you can't get a correct alignment. So you see this alignment here for the tile is just a little bit off. Just in this one spot though, it's lining up on most of the object, but just in that one spot it's just misaligned. Again, probably not noticeable, but if you're really worried about it, you can turn the normal map off and that will stop the misalignment from showing up. I'm not going to do that though, because you see we lose a lot of our distressing as well if I turn the normal map off. And I want the distressing, so I'm more inclined to put up with a slight misalignment just in one spot. Or I'll try and see if I can't make some adjustments here to get it to line up a little bit better. Sniper Girl says, we'll take a break when I'm 6 foot under. Okay, look, you guys, you are all adults, and if you want, you live your life and you do what you want. Far be it for me to try and tell you guys how you should live your life and how much sleep you should get. Just going to want to do that. Euro says, I used to say that Sniper Girl, but sleep is important and burnout is a thing. It is a real thing, guys. Burnout is a thing. That completely sucks and hits everyone. It does. And I've been guilty of it myself, just trying to take on too much and do too much. Because you think, well, it can't be that bad. But you get burnt out. Particularly when you work in a creative industry. I don't know what it is, but working in a creative field, the burnout is real. It is real. I don't know if that's just because you're constantly having to create, to be creative, working, you know what I mean? Just to come up with something unique, new and creative is an exhausting process in itself. So you can get burnt out really easily. That's why I take my mid-year sabbatical every year to that cabin in the woods, and where there's, I don't have any technology at all to tempt me. I don't take my phone. Actually, no, I do take my phone, but just in case of an emergency. And, like if I fall down a cliff and when I'm walking, doing some bushwalking or something. But I don't take anything else. There's no laptops, no computers, no television, no phone, no landline. Just to de-stress and to recharge the batteries, Sniper Girl says, I survived 5 years Navy with next to no sleep. Thanks, I'm fine. Well, that's true. I keep forgetting that you're in the Navy, Sniper Girl. So I'm just going to see if I can't get this to line up a little bit better. No. 0.05. Let's try that one. No. Let's go back to 0. There we go. No, not -1. Back to 0. Am I going the wrong way? Is that the problem? No, I'm not going the wrong way. Okay. Yeah, it's the UV mapping is just giving me being a bit of a bitch. To put it politely, being a bit of a bitch. So let's look at this one now. .1, what's that gonna do? No, that's no good. Euro says I used to run on a few hours here and a few hours here, a few there for a number of years. You get used to it, but it's not good. No, it's not good for your health. It's really bad for your health. Yeah, it is really, really bad for your health. It's super sensitive to get this to line up. Okay, let's have a look now. I think that's better. Yeah, again, where it meets the seam, we're starting to get a bit of a misalignment, but not enough that people I don't think are going to notice. Because the seam is actually going to be at the back of the column anyway, pointing inward, not on the outside where you're generally going to be doing a render from. So I think we should be okay. Android Lost says, as much as it's not good for you, we humans spend so much of our lives sleeping. We do that because we have to, though. Android Lost, it's really important to rest our bodies because that's when our body does everything it needs to do. So that's why sleep is, so important and why we spend so much time doing it. It's really important for the body. But I talk the talk, but I don't walk the walk. I'm terrible as well. Many times, like particularly when I have deadlines and stuff, it's not unusual for me to work till 3 in the morning. And you guys know I generally get up at like 6:30 in the morning. As you know, when I'm on break, I still get up at 6:30 a.m. And that's when I go to bed at 3 a.m. So I'm guilty of it too. I try not to do it unless I need to, because it is so bad for your body and you will burn out. But sometimes you just don't have a choice, particularly if you've got a deadline. Actually, I've been reading a lot of stories recently about workers in game studios not being treated well and the crunch being too hard and too long and too real. There have been a couple of stories in the media recently about a couple of games companies that have been burning their staff out, which is normal in the games industry, I have to say. It can happen in the film industry too. Not as bad as the games industry though. Andrew Last says, if we didn't have sleep, imagine how much stuff we could do. Yeah, well, imagine if we didn't need to sleep. Yes, work 24/7. Wouldn't employers love that? They'd love to work you 24/7. Euro says, it's only when I sat down with my manager and we worked out just how much on-call overtime I was doing that he freaked out. Well, that's the other thing too, of course. I remember Legmog talking about because he was doing a contract job for a studio, and them expecting him to work overtime and stuff. And I said to him, make sure that they're aware that this is what the other staff are doing, because sometimes they just don't know how much work you're putting in. And as Euro says, it's only when you tell them that they freak out, when they find out that they freak out. So, I'm not trying to suggest that all games companies or all companies, design companies, studios are bad and try and overwork you or work you to death. They don't. Because sometimes they just don't know. Because it can be when you do something you really love the temptation is there just to keep doing it and doing it and doing it because you love it. So it doesn't feel like work. So you don't, you know what I mean? You just do it because it doesn't feel like work. So the tendency to overdo it is really high. And even if you love it, doesn't mean you're not going to get burnt out because you need to sleep. You need to sleep and you need to eat properly as well. Snowberry says, I could read so much internet. Andrew Loss says, how much more Netflix we'd watch? Oh, I love the Netflix. I love the Netflix. Euro says, the extra cash was nice, but it was playing havoc with my social and family life. So yeah, watch those hours. I agree. That is good advice right there. Do watch those hours. Okay, now what I wanted to do here with this column as well as lining up our tiles was I just wanted to add a little bit more damage to the bottom. So you notice we've got a lot of damage happening at the top and we've got virtually no damage happening here at the bottom. And by damage, I mean where we see the underlying green tile, not the pattern on top of the tile, but the green tile. So I'm going to find where that green tile is. No, find where a pattern is, which is this one. And we are going to add a paint layer. And let's grab a brush. What brush will we use? I don't want a soft brush because I don't want a soft fall off between where the pattern is and where the pattern isn't. I don't want it to look like the pattern's fading away. I want it to look like the pattern's chipped off. So I think what I might do is let's see what this Dirt 3 brush is like. I don't generally use this brush. I'll have a look. Yeah, and I don't use it for a reason. I don't like it. I don't want that one. Actually, I need to this is not correct. I'm going to remove that paint layer. That's not what I want. I want a mask layer. Euro says, I haven't played with Substance for so long. I love Substance paint. I love Mari. That's my preferred paint program, is to work in Mari by the Foundry. But I do like Painter. It's a nice program. I like the interface. It's nice and clean. You guys know that's a bugbear of mine. It must be a nice interface to use, unlike ZBrush. So I do like the interface. My criticism has always been of Substance Painter has been that everyone's work looks the same because we all use the same substances. But now that Algorithmic have released Alchemist, where you can make your own substances in an easier manner than, say, using Substance Designer. That's becoming less of a problem now because you can take bitmaps, you can turn them into substances, and you can use those. So that makes it look your work look a bit more unique than it used to. Euro says, I might fire up Designer and make some materials. Designer is Bay. Yeah, Euro says. Designer is Bay. Designer is, is the bee's knees if you want to make your own substances from scratch. Alchemist, though, is a little bit more user-friendly than Designer and allows you to mix and match your substances, incorporate bitmaps, add filters to make new-looking effects, all that sort of stuff. So Alchemist will help with making substances for those people that don't want to use Substance Designer because that can be a pretty full-on program designer. Not even I'm not up on the ins and outs of Substance Designer. I played with it, but yeah, it's pretty full-on. Pretty full-on. Alchemist is less technical. It is. Designer is, if you want to learn Designer, it's a good program to learn and to use because it's the most powerful. You create your substances from nothing. But Alchemist is probably completely fine for a lot of people anyway. Now I can never remember if I need a white or a black mask with these things. Looks like the white mask is the one I wanted. Let me just double check. Yes. I just wanted to make sure my masking wasn't disappearing from the top of the column. Okay, and now I see what's happening here. I'm working on the wrong layer. Story of my life. It's going to remove the mask. We need to be working on this layer. But duh. Okay, and now I'm going to add a paint layer here. So all I'm doing here is I'm just removing some of the looks like we're misaligned again. Why is that? Just going to remove those paints. Android Lost says, I don't know when Substance Painter came out, but once I found out about that software, I did notice everyone's textures looked identical, especially on the guns people made. Yes. Do you remember on Mass Effect Andromeda, the last Mass Effect game that was released? I use that as an example as well, because all of the, I want to say costumes, all of the armor, what are they called? The armor, you know, the suits, the space suits, they all had the same edge wear because everyone used, like, they probably used a procedural smart mask to do the edge wear on the suits. So all the suits looked identical. You could pick the substance textures they were using for them. Yeah, I noticed the same thing too about the Assassin's Creed game, the Egyptian one. Is that called Odyssey? Or is that called something else? The Assassin's Creed game that's set in Egypt. I noticed substances that were used for a lot of the texture work in that game as well. So you got to be careful of that with Substance Painter. Sniper Girl says, back, my computer froze. Oh no, I guess it was its way of saying that I needed to take a break. That's right. Your computer's forcing you to take a break regardless. Euro says, I went through a phase of doing a bunch of the Allego tutorials. They are fantastic, and I wish more companies would make tutorials to the level that they do. I haven't checked any of their tutorials out. I should check them out. Euro says, Android Lust, it was the same when Quixel came out. Yeah, a new piece of software comes out. We all love it. We all use it, and everyone's work starts to look the same again. And that's why I like Mari, because I paint by hand and you get a much more unique looking model. Not that you can't paint by hand in Substance Painter, you can. But it just gets all balls back to that. Everyone uses the same substances, so that's the problem. And Sniper Girl says, according to Algorithmic, Painter came out in 2014. Hey Sniper Echo, it's good to see you, buddy. How's things? How are you? What's happening? What's up? So we will be jumping into Mari, but only for a few of the assets, not for all of them. I just want to make a couple of assets a little bit more unique looking by jumping into Mari. Sniper Girl says, I still think Paint... I like Painter too, don't get me wrong. I still like Painter though, have 300 plus materials and have a lot of flexibility and can make stuff look different. I like Painter too. Look, I'm not saying Painter is bad. It's not. It's a great program. Love it. If you're making games, it's excellent. Even if you're not making games and you're doing renders, it's still good. So I do like it. Don't get me wrong. I like Substance Painter. I think it's a great program. I like it even more now that you can use Alchemist to make new substances, so more unique looking substances. That was the only thing I didn't like about it. Even though you could always use Designer to make new substances, Designer is just too difficult to use. For me anyway. But Alchemist, I like Alchemist. So I'll probably end up using Substance Painter a lot more than I have in the past. But I'm still going to use Mari for bits and pieces because I love Mari. I'm used to Mari when I used to work in film, so. And there is no restriction on my texture sizes in Mari. I can go as big as I want. The only thing holding me back is the amount of memory in the computer. So. And I understand, someone told me, I think that Substance Painter does UDIMs now, and if that's the case, then that's a big plus as well, because that's the other reason I love Mari, because it handles UDIMs really well. I'm doing good, Sniper Echo. Yeah, no, I'm well. Yeah, no, it's good. The studio's starting to pick up again, of course. You know, toward the middle of the year, it really starts to get pretty busy in the studio. So. Which is fine. It's fine. It's all good. It is all good. I'm just painting in a little bit more of the tile here and there, just around the bottom, just to add a little bit more distressing to the bottom. I shall do it randomly. Smokeberry says Designer is free for tech artists. Is it? I didn't hear that. I'm a technical artist. They didn't tell me. Euro says, yeah, I'd agree. Designer takes a bit to get anywhere with, hence my praise for the tutorials on it. Yeah, again, you're probably right. I probably just haven't watched enough tutorials on using it properly. I'm sure if I did, then I'd have an easier time. And I really should. Because it is a good program. Substance Designer, if you want to make substances, is the way to go. But Alchemist, I can recommend Alchemist to more people because it's a bit easier to use. It is still in beta though, so expect a couple of bugs in Alchemist. Sniper Echo says, I'm good, I'm busy and all. Yeah. Andrew Lust, Sniper Girl. Sniper Echo says, yeah, Designer is powerful but takes time to get used to. Yeah. Reading comprehension, Phil, Smurfberry says. You are completely correct, Smurfberry Barbecue. Where did I get free from? Where I got free? I thought he typed Designer is free for tech artists, but he typed Designer is for tech artists. Wow, my brain. I'm amazed I can walk and talk at the same time. So again, I'm just removing a little bit of the pattern. Not a lot, just a little bit here and there, just to make it look a little bit more worn toward the base. It's a subtle difference. I'm only going to do a little bit of it because I just wanted. We have a lot of damage at the top and we had very little at the bottom, so I just wanted to bring in a little bit more damage through the bottom. Yeah, I've got to try and avoid creating a texture that looks too unique because we're going to keep reusing it. If we make anything too unique looking, people are going to start to notice it's being repeated. Smoker says there's a series of, I think it's insurance commercials on TV here where all of the dialogue is actors saying the word free. Smoker says free, 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 free. Well, everybody loves free. Like I always say, everybody loves free. You can't get better than free. So I get. I'd like to see that commercial though. It sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, that'll probably do. I just think I wanted to introduce a little bit more damage through the base without making anything look too unique. Let's texture up the bottom of this column. We need to go back and add distressing. Let's start with the edge. At this stage I like to turn off the top layer just so I can concentrate on the gold, and then we'll come back and turn the top layer back on. Smoper says, oh, the text preparation software ads. Oh, okay, there you go. Text preparation software. Oh, tax. We all love tax time, don't we? Do we all get a refund back from our government for our taxes? Wrong one. That's the best part of tax time. It's that refund, isn't it? Because no one likes doing their tax. You send it off to an accountant, get them to do it for you, because they know all of the deductions that the maximum deductions they can claim on your tax to get you the most amount of tax back. Sniper Girl says, I got 1,800 back in taxes. Couldn't believe it. Well, there you go. That's pretty good. 1,800 bucks. Wow. What did you treat yourself to, Sniper Girl, with that 1,800 bucks? Yeah. So that's the reason I go to an accountant, because they can just well, number one, I don't want to do it because it's just boring, and number two, they know all of the quirks, all of the discounts you're entitled to, and can get the most amount of money back. At least that's what I found. I know some people probably like doing their tax themselves, but I'm not one of them. Nuts to that. Android Lost says the refund is the only reason for tax time. That's exactly right. Sniper Girl says, leaning forward, treating myself to a digital camera for photogrammetry and ditching my phone. Okay. Well, they're all good things. Digital camera for photogrammetry and ditching your phone. That's a good thing. Although, look, don't poo-poo the phone as a camera, because most phones now have pretty good cameras in them. I tend to use a DSLR still for photogrammetry, but having said that, there is nothing wrong with a phone camera, provided the megapixels are high enough. Because, yep, the phones and cameras have come a long way. So do consider a phone camera if that's all you've got access to. You can still get some good models out of a phone camera. But it's always nice to have a DSLR camera, I have to admit. You can, you can pop it on a tripod, all that sort of stuff much more easily, and it's just a little bit more useful on DSLR. Sniper Girl says, my phone came out in 2015. It works, but yeah. 2015 is not that long ago, guys. Come on. What, 4 years ago? That's not long. In tech terms, I guess it might be, because technology moves so quickly, but still. But yeah, no, a DSLR is definitely, long term, the best way to go. If you want to do photogrammetry, DSLR. You'll get better results. And because it's easier to use things like tripods and stuff. Easy to add filters if you want to put a filter on your lens, all that sort of thing. But remember, if you're doing photogrammetry, don't just use the default lens. Don't use the telescopic on a lens or anything, because you will mess up your photogrammetry. It won't look good. It won't actually. It just won't align if you use any sort of magnification on your lens. The same goes with post-processing. Try not to post-process the photo. Like you can take it into Photoshop and you can make some adjustments to the to contrast or levels, but don't do any cropping or anything like that either. The photo must stay as original. Or again, the photogrammetry software won't be able to align the cameras properly. Sniper Girl says, with technology, it's practically a dinosaur. Smoker says, mine is 2007 and the sensor is noisy. Yeah, and that's another problem with photogrammetry. If the sensor is noisy and you get noise in the image, then you're going to get little bumps all over your model. So you want a camera that isn't too noisy to get good, clean photogrammetry. Sniper Girl says it's practically a dinosaur. Android Lust is asking Smurfberry, that's saying that your phone survived that long. Smurfberry says, as my camera. Smurfberry says, I'm about to go get a Sony A7. Oh, nice. Is that a mirrorless camera, Smurfberry Barbecue? Because they're the ones to go for if you can afford them. They're expensive. They are expensive. Yes, mirrorless full frame. There you go. Yeah, very nice. Very pricey though. It's certainly a nice camera. Or any mirrorless camera generally is the best way to go if you got the money to spend. And the more megapixels, the better. Again, all dependent on how much money you've got to spend. Sniper Girl says, nice, I was looking at getting a Sony a6000. Yep, another nice camera. Sony makes some really nice equipment. All Japanese, I guess you would expect, wouldn't you? Although, are they still made in Japan? I'm assuming they still are. But they're not made in China now, like most other electronics is, regardless of the brand. I'm going to do my best to get this column done today before the stream finishes in a half an hour. So I've got a half an hour or so to make sure I finish this column up. Because I got nothing done yesterday. Nothing. I looked at the work that I'd done after the stream and I thought to myself, what did I just do for 2 hours? It's all your fault. No, it's fine. I'm on Twitch to talk more than I am to work. Because I like talking. Well, you guys know I like talking. You know I'm a motor mouth. But I do have to we have to get this model done, and because we're still going to move on to the rendering stage, we've got to set up an environment for it in View and do some beauty renders, and then do some color correction in Photoshop before I can put it on my site for sale. Because I'm keen to move on to something new, and we might start doing some work back on the UE4 level, turning that into a game. I'll either make another 3D model. You guys let me know what you prefer to watch. I can either create another model for my store, or I can jump back into UE4 and we can start doing some stuff for the game level. Because I've been doing a bit of work in the last few days on setting things up for turning the House on the Hollow into a game. No work thanks to us, Android Lost says, but that's fine. That's fine. And it's just because I can't multitask. It's my fault, really. We're a good distraction. That Sniper Girl says, you are a good distraction. That's right. I don't mind. I like talking to you guys on Twitch. That's fine. Most streamers will be the same way. I mean, you might get the crusty old streamer occasionally that bitches because people are talking to them in chat, but generally most people don't. People that stream on Twitch want to talk to their chat. That's part of the fun of Twitch. So I don't mind. Snapperika says we could create a kitchen. We could create a kitchen. That's yes, but that's true. We could create a kitchen, and we could create a bathroom as well, Snapperika. And don't forget the bedroom. We have to do the bedroom. But yeah, I just want to know from you guys whether you want to watch me working on a different new 3D model for my store, or you want me to jump back into UE4 and we can start making some new stuff for that. Because probably what I will end up doing is I have to do an optimization pass on the House on the Hollow, because it was made for a cinematic, not for a game. So it needs an optimization pass, which means a lot of the assets need to be worked on, like draw calls have to be reduced. I have to reduce the number of textures on objects and stuff like that. So I consider all of that part of an optimization stage. So that needs to be done on everything we've already created. Not every asset, some of them will be okay. So that's an optimization stage, but I still need to add new areas if I'm going to turn it into a game, because it can't just be one building, and we need a couple of other areas in the forest somewhere. And I also need to add things like a kitchen and a bathroom and a bedroom, and like a lounge sitting room, because I want to put fireplaces in a couple of the rooms as well. I always intended that for the cinematic, but just didn't get around to it. So, but you're right. We will put a kitchen in. Sneaky, cheeky. Yes, and the bathroom, as Sniper Girl says. Sniper Girl says, poor bastards has used the bushes for so long. That's right. All of these poor people have been having to, or the poor person has had to go into that forest to do their business, and into the pond to wash themselves, which I'm sure is very, very cold. So we should give them a proper bathroom. Sniper Echo says, all jokes aside, we need more roads outside the house. How else will we escape in the van? I actually thought about this the other day, because remember, the premise of the game is that we're trapped in the hollow. So I need some way to trap the player within that area of the game. And I was thinking about this the other day. A lot of games put up what they call an invisible wall, which pisses me off. If I play a game and I'm running along and then I hit an invisible wall, like I can see what's beyond it, but I can't move there, that sort of kills the immersion in the game. At least it does for me. So I want a way to limit the player without them running into these invisible walls. So what I've come up with is I'm going to put the House in the Hollow entire area, forests, everything, on top of like a really large cliff. So once they get to beyond the forest, there's going to be a cliff edge. That will limit the player from actually leaving the area, but do it in more of a natural sort of way. that's not immersive braking. At least that was my idea. You guys let me know what you think. It can make it a really cool looking visual as well, like model for the clip edges and stuff. Suicide clip, that's right. If they go over the cliff, then they die. Sniper Echo says to Sniper Girl, scrap the van, we need a helicopter too. That's right, you need the helicopter now. You're going to be stuck on top of a mountain, on top of a cliff. So I just thought that might have been a good way to limit the player, not artificially, but more naturally, from being able to leave the area. Other games will put like mountain ranges in front of the player that they can't climb. That's a popular one to stop the player from moving beyond a certain point. But I have seen many games that just stick an invisible wall there, and that's a bit lazy. That's laziness on the developer's part, in my opinion. Just sticking an invisible box that you can't go past. Euro says, could do a river on one edge that goes off. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea too, Euro. We can look at all of that when I come to actually start working on the game again. I'm working on the game, not again. We haven't made the game yet. So that's a good idea, actually, a river. A river is a good blocker as well. And going off a cliff on the other edge, that could be a really cool looking visual too. So good idea, Euro. I think we will use that idea, at least on one of the edges. One of the sides. Smurfberry says the cliff is probably a good idea, although if the idea is that you can't leave, is there a volume surrounding the hollow? If the player enters the volume, they get forcibly teleported back inside. Yeah, that's actually a good idea too, Smurfberry. Yeah, because that's the whole point of premise of the game. It's you're trapped in the hollow. Not so much you're trapped on top of a cliff. You're trapped in the hollow. So one side we could probably have a cliff to limit the player from moving any further. Another side we could have like a river that could limit the player from moving any further. And then on two other sides we could set up, like you've just suggested, Smurfberry, a type of volume that when the player enters that volume, they get transported back to in front of the house. That's just to vary it up a bit. That's all good ideas, and we can use them all because we've got like 4 sides. So, Smurfberry says maybe with voiceover you can never leave. Yes, that again, a very good idea. I like that idea as well. I still have to flesh out the story for the game though, because I need to set up events inside the game and things for people to discover to explain why they're trapped there and how what happened to the people before them maybe, and stuff like that, that's all story related, and I haven't done any of that yet, so that all needs to be done as well. But because I'm going to be keeping it quite simple as far as gameplay goes, I don't have to worry about things like AI and all that sort of thing to run models around and stuff, because you're the only one that's going to be in the level. So in that regard, it's going to be a lot easier. So think that Edith Finch game along those lines, where it's a single player first person view. There are no monsters that are going to be chasing you down or anything like that. It's more of an exploration type game to work out how you can leave the hollow. That's sort of where I'm heading at the moment anyway. Sniper Girl says, wow, Endgame the movie earned $1.2 billion in the opening weekend. It is the highest grossing movie opening ever. Sniper Girl, the Endgame movie. They've done very, very well out of it. Made mega money, mega moolah, which is understandable because that's all anyone's talking about on social media. They're all talking about that movie. So other people are having to go and see the movie so that they don't get spoilers before they've seen the movie. So that's why everybody's rushing to go and see it straight away. because they don't want any spoilers from people before they've seen it. Unlike me, as Mercury will tell you. Sniper Girl says, but what if the person trapped calls to Ghostbusters? There are no phones in the building. Didn't you notice when we were doing our fly-through that did you notice a phone anywhere? There's no phones in the building. A phone could actually be, like an old-timey phone, could really be a nice asset to add, actually. Not that you'll hear anything when you pick it up. There are no phone calls in the Hollow. Andrew Dust says I still need to watch it. Yeah, I haven't seen the new movie yet either. I do want to go and watch it too. But I haven't seen Alita yet either, and I want to watch Alita as well. So I just haven't sort of had enough time. Even when I was on my break, I should have gone and done it then. Damn. To go and watch a movie. I didn't even think about it. You're not the only one, Andrew Dust? No, you're not the only one. A Euro says, dude, I live on an island. Well, I live on an island too, because you know Australia is considered an island. A very big island, but an island. Simply because, you know, we're surrounded completely by water. We don't have any borders between countries. Sniper Girl says, didn't notice a bathroom either. Doesn't that mean there's not one? Well, that's true. We are putting a bathroom in though. We're going to have to put a bathroom in. So we could put a nice old-timey phone in somewhere as well, because I think as an asset it would look cool. We could even have some creepy voice once you pick the phone up say something to you. You know, that's not used a lot in games, is it? Where you pick up the phone and you've got this creepy voice saying something to you on the other end. But I do like Smurfery's idea about once you enter this this blocking volume would transport you back to the building, that you have that voiceover saying you can never leave. I think that's cool. Very good idea. Almost back to the beginning. Euro says, wow, Phil, don't pull that card. You know what I mean. Euro says, 4 days till my local cinema gets Captain Marvel and 9 days till they get Endgame. Yeah. Wow. Well, not long to wait now then, Euro. You'll be able to see it before you know it. It used to be in Australia that we used to get movies a lot later than you guys in the US do, but not anymore. Movies seem to come out pretty much the same time here as they do overseas in the US, so, which is good. Yes, what's wrong with your town, as Andrew Dust says. Sniper Girl says, I mean, I'd have to be offline. How do you avoid spoilers? Yeah, I'd have to stay offline as well, as Sniper Girl says. Euro says, I avoid it. I tend not to follow people on social media who blurt out spoilers too. And Smurfery says that's pretty good. Phil, in 2019 it doesn't make sense to region restrict your release dates by weeks and months. No, it doesn't. Region blocking is crap. There is no reason for any company to be region blocking. Now that goes for games, that goes for film, anything. Region blocking is bullshit. There's no reason to region block anything. Do you remember the old days of DVDs where they used to be region blocked? I don't know if Blu-rays are, because I don't use physical media anymore. Everything's digital. But the old days with DVDs, they used to region block. You could change your region 5 times. Up to 5 times, I think it was, you could actually change your region. But after 5 times, and then it was going to be DVD drive was going to be locked to that region. I'm just going through here now and just removing largest parts of the gold here and there. Yura says, I mean, region blocks are valid if the content is against the law in those countries. Think something happened like that with Wolfstein in Germany. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think it was to do with the Nazi theme with Wolfstein, with the German release. Which is understandable. I'm not saying there are never any reasons not to, you know, there aren't good reasons to do some region blocking. But generally it's just an artificial barrier for people. Like particularly with film and TV sort of stuff, region blocking is because the producer of the film or the publisher, the distributor of the film has sold rights to that film to, say, a cable company, and so therefore the cable company don't want to lose paid subscribers by having people being able to jump online, say, and watch the movie that way. So it's generally geo-blocked, so to avoid that sort of thing happening. So it's got nothing really to do with anything apart from these companies not wanting to lose money, pretty much. I actually got rid of my cable service. Can you believe it? You guys know I have, I've got Netflix and all that sort of stuff, Amazon Video, but I used to do cable TV as well, satellite cable, but I got rid of it. I've replaced it with IP, what do they call it? It's like a IP TV, so it all comes by, like YouTube TV, so a different TV service now. So it's all TCP IP delivered, not via satellite or anything anymore, because it was just bad value for money cable. Cable TV was terrible. And I used to pay a fortune for it. Sniper says, yeah, Germany is very strict when it comes to certain stuff. Android Lost says, I've noticed that. Euro says, I haven't paid for TV nor watched it in years. It's bollocks. Euro says, I just have Amazon Prime and Netflix. Yeah, I've got both those as well. I do like them both, but because I like to watch news channels, like I'm a bit older than you guys, so I like to keep up with what's happening in the world and the news. So I tend to watch a lot of news channels, and I want to watch overseas news channels like BBC World or Al Jazeera or CNN. And really the only way to get those is to take out a subscription cable TV package, but I don't need to do that now because I can get it all via IP. Okay, now I'm just going to go through and bring back the gold. So yeah, if you've got no interest in news or anything, then yeah, it's pretty much unnecessary. Sniper Echo says, I probably only one real fear. That is when the day comes that I'm forced to retire. I dread the thought of having to watch daytime TV. Well, that's why you don't have to, Sniper. You can have Netflix and Amazon Video, and you can never watch TV again if you don't want to. You just watch what you want when you want. Sniper says, shoot me. Euro says, oh God, no thanks. Euro says, spend your remaining work years backing everything up so to USB. That's right. Sniper Girl says, same, normal TV sucks. Murphy Barbecue says, when I'm old enough to retire, well, we'll have mind computer interfaces, so I'll just plug in and forget real world. Do you think? You think, Smurfberry? I wouldn't. I don't know about that. And if we do have those interfaces, you know what they're going to be sending down the line. It's going to be advertising. That's what they're going to be forcing everyone to watch. Because they just can't force enough advertising on us. Sniper Girl says, I don't watch TV on TV. Sniper Echo says, yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched TV. Catch the news, sure, but that's it. I'm pretty much the same, guys. That's the reason I have the TV service, though. It's just so that I can catch up with the international news events. Particularly in this day and age, because you never know what's going on from one week to the next with, everything going on in the world. I need to be able to keep up with what's going on. I'm just tapping here and there now just to add a little bit more gold in. Probably hear it in my mic there. Sniper Girl says, well, he was talking about when Smurfberry Barbecue was old, not you, because, you whoa. Oh, man, you get the stink eye. You get the stink eye so much, Sniper Girl. Sniper Rigger says, I just can't hack it. Smurfberry Barbecue says, watch, bro, I'm going to be in MMO. Smurfberry says, watching videos is for suckers. Euro says, yes, I'm the same, Sniper Echo. Euro says also adverts, what the WTF, I have my internet screened at my router to block internet ads, but TV is oh my god. Yes, you can't turn it off on the TV, unfortunately. How are you guys finding the advertising on Twitch here? Because I know that Twitch has sort of pushed ads a lot more. So how are you guys finding that? Again, I've got no control over my the adverts that appear on my channel. It's all handled by Twitch. Just curious, because I know people have been complaining about a lot of ads, or the same ad over and over and over and over again. I'm just wondering whether that's improved or not for you guys. But of course you won't see ads on my channel if you're a sub anyway. Sniper Girl says, got it 2 days in a row, personal record. Yes, that's right. Smurfberry wants me to ban you, Sniper Girl. Sniper, yes. ICMZ, it's good to see you. ICMZ says, hey Phil and chat, how you doing? I'm doing really well. How are you? How's things? What you up to, ICMZ? It's good to hear from you. Let's bring in a little bit more gold back through the top here as well, so we can get some nice reflection happening. Sniper Echo says, that system are you using to block the ads? I think, are you using a pie hole or something to block the ads? That's always a popular option. It's called a pie hole. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi. Just runs on the Linux. Blocks everything, any adverts from coming through your network. But you could be using something else, for all I know. Euro says, hardware firewall domain blocking. Yeah, that is nice. Smoker says, I don't see Twitch ads off very often. When I do, I just hit mute. Sniper Echo says, Phil, it can be annoying getting the same ad for 6 months or more every stream, but other than that, it's usually only a 30-second ad. Well, that's good. I know I have read people saying that they kept getting the same ad over and over again. Like they weren't just getting one ad, they were getting 4 or 5 in a row and they were all the same ad. That could get pretty tiring, watching the same ad, 30-second ad 4 times in a row. So I'm glad that's not happening. Android Lost says, I find YouTube ads more annoying than Twitch, but I only get YouTube ads on my phone and a computer I use for work. I'm the same. There are ways to turn off ads on YouTube, and I encourage you all to do it because I don't like the way YouTube handled their whole business last year when they took away monetization from creators. So if you're not going to give me monetization, I'm going to use an ad blocker on your YouTube. So I never see ads on YouTube. On the computer. If I watch it on my TV with the app on the TV, I do, unfortunately. Yes, ad block for ads. I use ad block. I use Origin ad blocker as well. I think this is good. Just got home. Time to get some food and relax. Well, that's the way to go. Sniper Girl says, glad you're doing well. Yura says, yeah, I looked at Pi-hole, but I already had a solution pre-Pi era. It ain't break, so I ain't fixing it. Well, fair enough. You don't need, if it's working, then you don't need to fix it, like I said. I always, that's my attitude with BIOS updates for motherboards. Unless it's a security update, I generally avoid updating the BIOS on my motherboard, because if it ain't broke, why fix it? And, you know, if it ain't broke, why risk bricking it? So that's generally the advice I follow for BIOS updates as well. Unless it's really, really necessary. Or something is not working properly. ICMZ says to Smurfery, not sure yet, going to see what I have to cook. Yeah, I'm going to have chili after the stream for my lunch. Chili. Love the chili. Sniper Girl says, try being a female. I ended up complaining to Twitch to switch me to male, so I'd stop getting tampon ads. Oh wow. That targeted advertising, gotta love it, don't you? Targeted advertising. Sniper Echo says to Sniper Girl, lol. Android Lost says, I didn't know Twitch gave gender specific ads. I didn't either. I did not know that. Doesn't surprise me though. Just going to get rid of some of the dirt from underneath here so it's a little bit more gold. Not that we're going to be getting a lot of light shining under here anyway, but yeah. No, I find that too difficult. I was just experimenting there with using the little rocker on the side of my pen to actually do the zooming. But I actually find it quicker and easier just to have the pen in my hand and my hand resting on my mouse to do my zoom than trying to mess with these little buttons on the side of the pen. ICMG says that's horrible to specifically get those kinds of ads. Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, targeted advertising. That's why they want to track us all everywhere all the time, so that they can show us stuff that they think we'd be interested in. We're more inclined to try and to buy. Don't forget, with the new version of Chrome, if you're a Chrome browser user, you can turn on incognito as well. It's switched off by default. You just have to go into the preferences. So go Chrome flags, and in there you can turn incognito on. And that will stop a lot of the ad trackers from tracking your activity and hopefully stop a lot of that targeted advertising from happening. That's only in the new version of Chrome 74 that was released last week. Actually, it's funny too, because you know how you can look at your user data if you've got a Twitter account, you can look under your user data. And when I first opened my Twitter account, because under your user data it says things like what it thinks your gender is and all that sort of stuff, it thought I was female. When I went to check my, what does that say? When I went to check my data under my Twitter account, it thought I was a female. How rude, how insulting is that? I mean, really? So I don't know what this AI thinks is what this AI is doing, but yeah, there you go. And I always like to check the social media accounts to see just exactly what information they are collecting about me. It's one of the reasons I don't have Facebook, because I don't like their I don't like how much data they collect on you. I'm not doing in here because that's going to be that's where the top of the column touches the top of the dome. So the decoration part on the top of the staghorns on the top of the column. Yura says, I wouldn't be against ads if people whose content it was on were benefiting directly, but the majority don't do so they can GTFO. Thank you, Euro. I agree with you completely. That's the reason I'm using an ad blocker on YouTube as well. Simply because YouTube took that stand where they demonetized a lot of everybody's accounts basically, unless you're a large streamer with a lot of viewers. You can't make money on advertising by running ads on your Twitch videos. So I made sure I turned advertising off on all of my videos. I don't know if they run ads on them anyway. I haven't seen any ads running on my videos, so hopefully they don't. Because I thought, well, bugger you, YouTube. If you want to be mean and turn off my monetization, then I'm going to make sure that ads are turned off on all of my videos, so you can't make any money on my work. Which is what they're doing, of course. If they're running an ad on a video that's not monetized, then that ad revenue goes directly back to Google. That's the reason they did it. None of this bullshit about, smaller YouTube people don't make enough money to make it worthwhile. Well, that's not the point. I'm sorry, YouTube, that is not the point. Sniper Girl says, you were very feminine. Oh, bugger you. I didn't even know you were a guy until you told me. You get a Phil slap. ICMZ says, the only reason I still have a Facebook is because of networking. Yeah, again, I do have a Phil Does 3D Facebook. I never use it. I only did it to register Phil Does 3D before somebody else took it on Facebook. But I don't post anything to it. So yeah, for networking, it is really important. I am going to open a Facebook account for the game The House in the Hollow, simply because, well, I have opened one up simply because I want to grab that, grab the name, not have somebody else use it, so I can't use it for Facebook, because it's going to be good marketing and promotion for the game to use a Facebook account. And the only reason I have my Phil Does 3D Twitter really is to inform you guys if I can't stream for some reason or something like that, because I'm not big on social media. I've never really been big on social media. Like, I'm not one of those people that takes pictures of their food and posts it to the social media account and talks about it with everybody. That sort of thing just doesn't interest me. But it's a good way for me to contact you guys that watch me and let you know about any changes or anything like that. So social media has its place. I can see that. Smippery says, this ad supports person. Meh, have no, no, it doesn't. No, that's right, it doesn't. Android Lost says, I never believe that. No, don't. Euro says, Twitter thinks my top 3 interests are dogs, tech news, and space and astronomy. WTF, where the dogs come from. Everyone I know posts cats. That's right. I find that with Netflix as well. The recommendations that Netflix has for you? It says, we think you'd like this, this, and this. I don't know what AI is thinking in Netflix, but what they recommend is stuff I'd never watch, never want to watch. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Netflix's recommendation system isn't great either. That AI needs to be retrained. I mean, sometimes it comes up with something I might want to watch, but generally not. Euro says sometimes, it's mostly, like I said, sometimes it does come up with a couple of shows I do want to watch. Most times, though, it comes up with recommendations that don't interest me at all. You don't know me at all. Netflix, you don't know me at all. Maybe, I don't know. I was going to say maybe it's because when I watch Netflix, I tend to binge watch a series. I don't generally jump around Netflix watching different things. If I go to Netflix, it's to binge watch one show. Maybe that's why the AI is having a bit of a problem recommending stuff for me. And of course, I don't think Amazon even has a recommendations thing. They really got to pick up their video. Amazon Video is not as good as Netflix. They don't have as good a range. I'm looking forward to... why can I never think of these things when I want to say them? What is the show? Oh, it's gone. Anyway, the sci-fi show that Netflix picked up that was cancelled, and then Steve Bezos decided he was going to fund it for a 5th season on Netflix as an Amazon Video exclusive. The Expanse. Thank you, Euro. Wow, what is wrong with my brain? The Expanse. That's the one. Great sci-fi show. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's a series. They did season 1, season 2, and season 3, and then they cancelled it. And then Jeff Bezos liked it so much, he decided to fund it as a Amazon Prime Video exclusive for season 4. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. And I like American Gods. That's a good series as well on Amazon Video. Sniper Record said, yeah, it's going to happen. It's in production now. Yep, it's certainly happening. Euro says it's going on Amazon, yep, as an exclusive. Euro says all the previous series are on there now. I haven't checked. I have to check that out. Because I don't go to Amazon Video quite as much as I go to Netflix, because Netflix have a better range. But I'll check, because I wouldn't mind rewatching the series 1, 2, and 3 again of The Expanse. I thought it was that good. I really loved it. Really good story, really interesting. A smart sci-fi show, not some sort of dumb sliders type rubbish, but a really smart sci-fi show. Again, based on a series of books. Do check them out, ICMZ. They're very, 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 very good. One of the best sci-fi series I've seen in ages. The Expanse. Android Lust says, I'm so behind on nearly every show. Android Lust says, haven't even seen one episode of Game of Thrones. I haven't either. I haven't watched even one episode of Game of Thrones either. Android Lust. Doesn't really interest me. I don't know. I don't get the attraction to Game of Thrones. I'm just going to do a save here. I don't get the attraction to Game of Thrones. It's never really interested me either. I don't get it. Let's do an export on these textures. Just before I do an export, I'm going to just do a rename here. So column 2 matte. Why am I column 2 matte? Well, we're going to call this one column new matte, I think. And we're going to call this one, which is the gold column gold new matte. There we go. Again, let's just do a quick save and let's export the textures. I'm going to export the main column at 4K. I'm going to export the gold top and bottom at 2K. Why not? Which is probably more than I need, but I'd rather be too big than too small. Sniper Girl says, I haven't watched Netflix in years. I love Netflix. Nero says, I plan to rewatch The Expanse in the run-up to the next series. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll try and control myself and hold off on watching it until just before release of Season 4 as well. Just, watch them as a refresher just before you jump into the new season. That's a very good idea. Just waiting for Max here. I've noticed Max and Substance Painter, they really have a conflict between the two of them sometimes. I don't know if it's because they both use DirectX for their viewport. But they really have issues jumping between each other. Altered Carbon, Euro says Altered Carbon is very good too. Yep, I saw Altered Carbon. I'm waiting for Season 2 of that. Seems to be taking a very long time. I watched Altered Carbon Season 1 when it first went on Netflix. So yeah, I'm desperately waiting for Season 2 because I really liked Altered Carbon. It was good. Again, really creative show. ICMZ says, same Game of Thrones isn't my interest, and I don't like hopping on the bandwagon with when that's all that people talk about at work. I'm the same. I don't like hopping on the bandwagon either, and yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't really interest me. Column 1 base. We're going to change this one to column 1 new. Column 1 new base. Which means I need to change my DirectX shader to Column 1 new. This is the normal map. We must make sure we turn override on. That's good. Let's do the color map. The metallic. And the roughness. I'm just concentrating here and ignoring my chat so I don't mess this up. The roughness, and the last one is the occlusion. Do we not have an occlusion map? I don't actually think we've got an occlusion map. Why don't we have an occlusion map? Okay, I'm plugging in the wrong ones. Okay. Edward Dust says, I saw one episode of Altered Carbon. It was interesting. I don't know why I didn't continue watching it. It wasn't a really interesting show. Really, it's worth watching. It really is. Smurfberry says, wait, I thought Altered Carbon was cancelled. Oh no, don't tell me that, Smurfberry. Maybe that's the reason they haven't brought out season 2. I don't know why they cancelled it though. Oh no, don't say that. I guess it was renewed. Maybe it has been cancelled. You could be right. Maybe I just missed the announcement. I hope you're wrong, because I really liked Altered Carbon. I was looking forward to a season 2. Euro says, I'm pretty bummed all the Marvel series on Netflix got cancelled because of Disney pulling the rights back, some of which, yeah, that's because Disney Plus is being launched soon. Disney want to release their own streaming channel, so that's why they pulled the rights from Netflix so they can stream it on their own channel. Smurfberry says Netflix is apparently also making an anime companion series to explore the universe and elements of the mythology. Oh, okay, well, that sounds cool. Smurfberry says Altered Carbon was renewed for a second season in July 2018. Anthony Mackie will take over from the role of I can't pronounce that. Takeshi Kovacs, replacing season 1 star Joel Kinnaman. Cool. Well, I'm glad. Thank God. Because I really do like Altered Carbon. It's a great show.
I'm trying to breathe, I'm sinking underwater. I try to escape. I think I'm drowning, this feeling gets stronger, and I'm not quite ready to break. I'm trying to breathe, I'm sinking underwater. I try to escape.
I'm going to actually... I need to change these. I changed the wrong ones. Even when I was concentrating, I still get it wrong. How about that? Euro says season 2 of Altered Carbon is in the works. Netflix published a video with the cast in February. You know the other show I'm looking forward to on Netflix is The Witcher. They're making a series based on the Witcher character. I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. That's going to be really cool. So yes, I can't wait to see that one. Because I love the game. So hopefully they'll do... and the guy that plays the Superman is playing the main character of The Witcher. So hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully they're spending a decent amount of money on it, so it'll be good. I'm sure they are. And the roughness. Euro says, I hope they make another Warcraft movie. You liked the first one? Did you like the first one? I didn't really like the first Warcraft movie. I don't know. I wasn't that enthused with it. I mean, visually it was nicely done, like the effects and stuff were nice, but yeah, I don't know. Didn't grab me. It wasn't terrible. I mean, worth watching. It was fun and all, but yeah, I wouldn't watch it again. These bitmaps aren't used as part of the DirectX again. I just do this so that I know what the shader is at a glance, because otherwise the DirectX shader doesn't tell you, which is a pain. Let's load in the another DirectX shader, because we need to bring in the gold for the column. We don't need that one there. We want to make this interactive. Now we want to load up our normal map for the gold, which will be this one, and the color map, which will be this one, and the metallic map, which will be this one. And I forgot to make sure I turned on override here. There we go. The roughness map, which will be this one. And I'm not using emissive or ambient occlusion, so that's all good. I want to plug that into there and that into there. And I just want to make a change here too. So I want to make this unique and make a change to the shader. I just want to add 2 lights to this shader tree instead of the default one. So number of lights 2. Because we're making changes to the default template, we must export the graph, otherwise it won't remember it. Column gold 1, that will do. Okay, now let us assign our material to one of the columns. It's already selected. Now, why is my gold not showing up? It's the gold. It's multi-material. Let me just, I actually think that might be one of the second texture sets. It still should show up though. Why gold not show up? Why gold not show up? It's all fine. Let me open the UVs up. I want to have a look at the UVs. So I'm just going to throw down a unwrap. And let's look at the textures it's assigned to it. That's correct. The gold is being loaded up on the gold, so that's all fine. Why am I not seeing it? Why indeed? I bet you there's something I forgot to do with the shader. I bet you that's what it is. Betcha. Interactive, that's all cool. Oh, I forgot to turn it on. Remember, when you load them up, if you're using the DirectX shader, you must also turn them on, so set it from 0 to 1. That's 3 or 4 DIRs today. 1 for the color, 1 for the metallic, 1 for the roughness. And now it shows up. Good. Let's just select it. Let's get rid of this unwrap. We don't need that. So we're just going to make one more version of this so we can alternate between 2 versions on all of our columns. So we got one done. We've only got one more to go. One more to create. Well, it's half created because the tile work is done. We're just got to do the top and the bottom. Snappy Girl says to Euro, I also like the Warcraft movie. Euro says orcs and humans, it's all you need to know. Thank you, Sniper Girl. I'm glad you like it. We're going to, like I said, we're pimping up the terrace, the temple, because it's a temple. We need more gold. So I'm actually going to be pimping up the top here a little bit as well. But we'll get the columns done first, and then I'll just make the adjustments to the top. So yeah, I just think having a little bit more gold just helps to make the columns a little bit more interesting. I'm just trying to select something that's not getting in the way. We'll select that up there. So yeah, it just helps to make the columns look a little bit more interesting. But I think we might leave it there for today, guys and girls. Let's do a save so we don't lose the work we've done. I do want to thank you though very much for being here, watching and hanging out with me. It's always fun chatting and talking to you guys and girls. So thank you again very much for being here and for watching. I will be back again live on Monday next week, 5 p.m. Pacific in the United States for our regular live streams. Do remember though, if you've missed the streams, you can catch up on Friday and Saturday with the catch-up streams. But you guys have a great weekend. You take care, and I will see you all again on Monday next week. You're quite welcome. Thanks again for being here and watching, guys. And I hopefully will see you on Monday next week. See you guys.